Hi. Okay, so Roseanne here today, and I am with Rudy Mettia in Santa Monica, California, right?
That's right.
And we're talking via Skype here. So Rudy is a founder and senior teacher of a new platform called Udaya, and he's also got an interesting story. We're going to hear a little bit more about his story, but his bio notes refer to his handlebar mustache and southern drawl. So he's not really your typical yoga teacher or has that kind of typical, whatever that means, typical yoga image. He's known for his irreverent teaching style, and he's often referred to as the mad scientist of yoga. He's also known for his alignment based and power flow style. He started teaching in church basements and has gone on to become a leading teacher in the Santa Monica yoga scene over the past decade. And he's also adjunct faculty at the Kripalu Center in Massachusetts. So, hi, Rudy. How are you doing today?
I am doing good. Thanks. Nice to be here, by the way.
Great. In your living room. It's
In my
perfect.
living room, yeah, with you. That's good.
And I'm in my office.
And
It's
you're a
all
viewer,
good.
so happy they all joined us.
Excellent. So I'd like to hear a little bit about the mad scientist reputation and what sort of styles you bring into your approach.
Yeah, I think the mad scientist maybe just because I'm mad.
Yeah.
Could be it. No, I'm always exploring, and to answer your question about the styles, Brian Kess was one of my big influence back in the day when I first started. Strangely enough, he's younger than I am, but he's one of my first teachers that I really clicked with back about 20 years ago. And he
Okay.
was a young teacher too, but he believed in the Bruce Lee style of no styles, where there was no dogma to it. But I've taken it all: Iyengar and Ashtanga and all the styles. And Power Yoga is just a branch of Ashtanga, if you will. So me just kind of exploring and bringing different styles in and being a little bit about the science of the practice. So I think it's probably where I don't get that called that much anymore, but it used to be when I was really exploratory. Still
Mm.
am, but it's
Mm-hmm,
kind
mm-hmm.
of different.
And you've been based in Santa Monica for most of your career.
I have. I've been teaching full time. I've been in yoga for 20 years. Got introduced in Santa Monica, California, and I've been teaching here full time since.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have a fairly interesting story and a fairly interesting life story. And I think that we all have interesting life stories, right? And we all
Yeah.
have, and how we kind of come to yoga is always part of our whole life. It's a piece in our story. But I understand you were orphaned as a child and you grew up in foster homes and eventually went on to join the Marines. In a host of interesting careers, including like bartending and bouncer. And so I'm curious to know
bodyguard,
how.
bodyguard, and actor, and stuntman, and biker, and all those things. Trainer. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I got an unusual start. And I think all of us have a life story, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's our wellspring that propels us forward to whatever we're doing. And thank goodness for it. If I used to hear those stories about people who go, "Well, I got cancer, and it's the greatest thing ever happened to me," and you think, "What are you talking about?" But the fact of the matter is, motivation comes from two places: inspiration or desperation, and
Mm.
and either one of them can propel you forward. But desperation propelled me forward, and while my story is Shakespearean tragic in some ways, it makes me no special than anyone else. It's my story, and
The,
it
the
is
the
it
orphan
is
piece
deep.
is rather Dickensian. It's got a
Yeah,
Charles Dickens piece to
yeah.
it.
So it could have ended up bad in prison maybe, and probably should have if but I think the statute of limitations have run out, so I think I may be safe.
Mm. So, at what point in did you discover yoga? Like, how did you go from bodyguard to
Yeah,
yoga practitioner? So where what do you remember? Like, kind of how you discovered it
I,
and what
I,
your entry
I,
point
I
was.
exactly when it was. It was about 20 years ago. I was at Gold's Gym in Venice, California.
Mm.
And for you gym rats and weight trainers and bodybuilders and all that stuff, that's like the physical mecca of the world. And that's back when they had Muscle Beach, and they'd be doing acrobatics on Venice Beach, and there all the muscle men and all the performers would go. But that place, Arnold Schwarzenegger was training in the gyms and all those type of people. And I was a bodybuilder at the time. This is in the '80s when I was a kid, and kid, mid-20s and stuff. And I was all very, very, very physical, like one of those guys. And I was hurt. And there was a yoga class in a place called Gold's Gym, which is full of steroided 300-pound bodybuilders.
Mm.
But there's a yoga class, and I had a shoulder injury, and and I looked in the window, and there was a bunch of girls practicing yoga. I looked at my friend. I go, "What the hell's going on in there?" He said, "That's a yoga class." I said, "What the hell is yoga?" Because I was from the South, and socioeconomically, I didn't know anything about yoga.
Mm-hmm.
And I just said a bunch of girls in yoga. I go, "I'm going to do that stretching class tomorrow because that looks like a lot of fun." It was all the girls. And I went to that practice 20 years ago, and I just got into down dog. I remember it was down dog, and I had a shoulder injury. And I went, "That really feels good on my shoulder. It really feels good." And looking back, I thought to myself, after I walked out of that class, I said, I got this yoga thing. I got it. I know what this is about. And I inherently, even looking back, I inherently understood it. Because I don't know if you've ever seen a bodybuilder, they'll be posing, and they're doing those muscle shots. Well, they have to know how to control their body. And I had intimate knowledge on how to flare my latissimus muscle. I had intimate knowledge on how to lift my quadricep. So when a teacher said lift the quadricep and rotate the tricep or whatever, I was like, I totally get that. And so to me, it was another form of yoga. And to this day, I still do some weight training, but I do it in the same intention that I do a yoga practice. So what brought me to yoga was the weight training. And I still am a proponent of weight training, yoga, conditioning, all three together. But yoga is kind of what brought me to the dance, and it's my, if I had to choose only one, that's the one I would do.
Okay.
But that's how I got attracted to it originally.
Okay. And then at what point did you think that it would be that you wanted to go deeper into it and train and become a teacher?
Yeah, it's very funny. If anyone knows Brian Cassie, he's a little bit of a rebel.
Mm-hmm.
And I was working nights. I was working as a bouncer, and I was still acting. So I was auditioning in the day, and I was working as a bouncer at night. But I was doing yoga, and Brian Kess was teaching in this class. He had 150 people in class, and the actor in me, that really appealed to me, being a performance artist. Almost like you have a monologue, you have a captive audience. And so that appealed to me, and I started going to his classes, and he resonated in a real kind of guy way.
Yeah.
The Fu Manchu that we talk about. And it kind of, I dig what he's saying. Where the other teacher, in hindsight, the other teacher was very bhakti, right? Very devotional.
Yeah.
And that was very strange to me coming into that. I was like, what is he even talking about? Shiva Shakti and all the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But this other guy, Brian, was just like, do it till it feels so effing good you can't stand it. That's his kind of language. And I said, I resonate with that. And then later, as I got serious into practice, I thought back to the first teacher, Michael, at Gold's Gym, and I went, I resonate with that too, because that's the spiritual, philosophical side of it. And that appealed to me too, because that helped me set an intention for the physical aspect of it. So right about, not that long after, I think it's about 1995 or 1996, I asked Brian if I could sub for him. And I wasn't even teaching yoga.
The 90s. People could do that in the 90s.
You should really get trained. I said, when's your next training? He said, I'm not doing another one. He said, you should go to Yoga Works. And I went to see Madhvi Azrati, who owned Yoga Works at the time, and her, Chuck Miller, and Lisa Walford trained me. And then I came back to Brian, and he opened a second studio, and I was off to the races the next day, and I've been working full-time ever since.
You're involved in Udaya, a new platform that will actually be able to let your practice reach people everywhere beyond just Southern California. So can you tell me a little bit about Udaya and how you got involved in it and what your sort of vision for the platform is?
We love the Udaya. The Udaya. You may hear my screaming 4-year-old. Udaya means rising sun in Sanskrit. And my partner, or the CEO of the company, Yariv Lerner, he's the CEO, he came to me and we put together a box set called Yoga Warrior 365, which is the most extensive, I think, box set. It was like 14 DVDs and 37 tutorials and 12 classes and all this. But we did that, and I thought, we should open a yoga studio. And him being a businessman goes, Santa Monica needs another yoga studio, like the sand, like the beach needs more sand. Mm-hmm. It's one on every corner next to Starbucks in between Coffee Bean. Mm-hmm. He said, we should do an online school. And I think online is the way it's going. And Yoga Glow, you're familiar with Yoga Glow?
Yeah.
Yoga Glow kind of leads the space, and they've got about a 10-year head start with fantastic teachers. I mean, if you look at Yoga Glow's roster, they're fantastic teachers. So we just said, well, let's do a product. Let's do a business such as Yoga Glow, but let's make it even more beautiful, quite honestly. Shakti, the beauty of it. So my CEO, Yuriv, the CEO of the company, his father owns a film company that does Hollywood films. Matter of fact, he's done maybe 500 Hollywood films, and he owns this film studio in Bulgaria, Eastern Europe, and it's the biggest film studio outside of Los Angeles. And so he said, well, let's just shoot these things like movies. And so we went and we go to Bulgaria twice a year, and we shoot on sound stages, and we do makeup, as I need a lot. We do hair, which I skip on that part. But we do wardrobe, and we cast it, and we shoot it like we shoot a film. Lights, 4 different cameras, dot. We have a film background, so we shoot a movie. So we make it quite beautiful.
Yeah, that's really apparent. Like you can definitely tell there's a cinematic quality to the videos that other yoga instructional videos don't have. Like
number one, they can't do it because it's hyper expensive. But we have nepotism. We have a movie studio at our beck and call.
So in Bulgaria.
Yeah. So we fly, and we'll take, like, we're about to leave. We're taking Sienna Sherman and Micheline Berry went there with us last year, and then I'm going, and the other founding teacher, Vitas, is going, and we're taking about 10 teachers and 50 students, and we'll shoot nonstop for another week, come up here in July. So it's an online school. I think we have about 250 videos up now, and we release 5 new videos every single week. It's really we charge either $9 or $12. I haven't looked at it lately, but I think it's $9 or $12 as for the month, and you get unlimited video. And again, the quality is so beautiful. And other yoga, anytime you go online and see yoga, there's great teachers. But the product, the visual of it, I think yoga should be attractive, not in Cosmopolitan magazine attractive, but attractive as in, the yoga's called Shri. It's just the beauty of it. So the yoga practice, like I say, is an internal practice. But if you watch a serious practitioner practice, and they can look like 50 miles of bad road, physically, but the practice is like this elegant, beautiful thing. And we said, let's capture the elegance and the beauty of yoga visually to inspire people. And I have people say, I just sit and watch the classes, and then I do them, which I think is great, because to watch a yoga class is like watching paint dry, right? Because yoga is experiential, where you feel it. To watch it, you're just sitting there going, yeah, what next? But we made it so beautiful where you can actually look at it and go, this is quite lovely. And then it may motivate you to actually do the practice. So Udaya.com online yoga. So that's our baby. It's growing by the day.
Yeah, we can feel the care and love and artistry that goes into the videos online. So thank you.
We hope it. It's a tough product to make because it's so expensive for us. Because the way we do it, we film it, we download it, we edit it, we score it, we color correct it, and then we present it like a film. And so many other online places, they just shoot it with one camera, download it, and send it out. But we do a lot of preparation work. And funny enough, half the time, 3/4 of the time, you're not looking at the screen. You're just listening for the cues. But when you do look up, it's going to be something that inspires you, we think. And all kinds of yogis go. Yogis who are stiff as a board, pretty yogis, big yogis, tiny yogis, advanced yogis, beginning yogis, everyone. So that way there's modifications, and there's a role model for you within that class. It's not going to be a bunch of handstanders on one hand, and you sitting at home going, I can't do any of this. Something that's empowering and something that's accessible, I think.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today, Rudy, and telling me more about your telling me more about your career and the platform, and people will definitely check it out.
That sounds great.
Well, thank you so much.
If you need anything, let me know. I appreciate talking to you and talking